Hello and welcome to KitPlus. Now, leading up to NAB, we're doing a number of exhibitor interviews about new releases and what they'll be showing in Las Vegas. And today we're talking to David Edwards from Net Insight. Hi, David. How are you?
Hi, Simon. I'm good, thanks. Good to be talking to you.
Absolutely. Now, David, we're going to kick off with something I don't know much about, so I'm quite interested to learn about media trust boundaries
Okay.
and how they help to manage network risks. The floor is yours.
Okay. So actually, I've got in my hand the original trust boundary. It's an
Okay.
SDI cable, but we don't live so much in the world of SDI and ASI. But in those days, SDI was a really good trust boundary. You could hand off content from one system to another, from one operator to another, and you would have entire separation between those networks. Now, in SDI, that's really great, but in the world of IP gives you super flexibility. It enables you to build much more dynamic networks, enables you to link any stream to any destination, almost anything to anything. And because of that great flexibility, you also have some risks because you can literally connect anything into anything, and that may be compatible. You may be able to set parameters which might do damage to your network. So an IP trust boundary enables you to manage that risk and ensure that you can segment your network into containers where if something does get set incorrectly, the impact of that problem does not spread across the whole of your network or spread from your network into someone else's network. It's a bit like bulkheads in the submarine. If you have your submarine and some section gets flooded, with a bulkhead, you can stop that flood moving from
Gotcha.
one segment to another.
Nice analogy. So, what are the key parts of your trust boundary solution?
So a
And
trust
yeah,
boundary is sort of split into three segments. There's a
hmm
monitoring segment, so you can look at the content coming across your network. You can look at data rates. You can look at RTP packet sequences. There's a protection element to it where you can protect the streams as they move across the network. Things like simply 2022-7 seamless switching, things like red-blue redundancy switching, bitrate policing. So if a stream goes over rate or under rate compared to what you were expecting, you can choose to block that stream.
right,
And then there's an adaptation element to it, which enables you to bridge different network configurations. So network address translation and the ability to manage flows across those networks. So flow replication. So you can replicate a flow nearer to the destination rather than having to carry that flow all the way across from the source. And of course, on top of that, you've got the ability to configure and control and monitor all of those things. So those are sort of the elements, the key elements of a trust boundary. And that's something that we've implemented within our Nimbra 600 and Nimbra 1000 devices under our Media Pro app.
I guess that's giving users a much better management of their media network, isn't it?
That's right. It enables them to manage that network. It enables them to manage risk. It starts off from a zero trust philosophy. It's don't trust anyone, including yourself. So if you're managing a network, you can operate within silos as you set it up and then free up that traffic once you've got it configured correctly. If you're handing off content from one operator to another, you don't need to have negotiations on IP address ranges, for example, between yourself and another operator. You can run your networks entirely separately, entirely contained, and that enables you to be much more flexible, much more dynamic, much more agile in the way you operate your networks because you don't have to go through any sort of manual processing and checking processes. You can set things up in a segmented fashion and use the power, the flexibility that the IP world has. So really, this enables you to sort of set clear demarcation points. It enables you to increase your operational efficiency and use your IP flexibility to its full.
Yeah. So I guess those are the main benefits, are there? Or are there more benefits to it as well?
So enables you really to launch services faster. It reduces the risk of any outages. It gives you that network agility that IP promises and enables you to deploy systems much more cost effectively, really. It enables you to utilize and to leverage the benefits that the IP world has to offer.
Yeah. So what type of media companies are using this?
So we've deployed Trust Boundary in quite a lot of situations now, but one of the customers we're allowed to talk about it is Red B, and Red B have multiple sites in the UK and sites across Europe, and they wanted to enhance the efficiency of their network. They wanted to have a dynamic disaster recovery solution. They wanted to be able to operate reliably and maintain the site separation that they have. So they implemented Trust Boundary with our help on our Nimbra equipment, and they were enabled to get red-blue site connectivity. They were able to utilize seamless switching so that you could then protect those data paths against any outages there may be on the IP links. But they were also enabled to get that cross-site separation that they needed. So if there was a problem in one site, then problems did not spread into the other sites. So it's particularly important if you are doing disaster recovery. You don't want that disaster to spread from one site to another. That defeats the point. And they were able to manage their sites independently. So they leveraged the power of the NATing to ensure that they could operate those sites independently and also use them together.
And you'll be talking to visitors at the show all about the boundary.
We will.
The Trust Boundary.
Yes, it's something that a lot of our customers are now coming us to talk about, particularly as they are moving to this IP world and they're leveraging things like TR07 and JPEG XS and all of those things. Now they're starting to meet these problems that they didn't have in the older SDI world. So you can find us at NAB. We'll be at West Hall 2421, and you can find us there, and we'll be pleased to talk about Trust Boundary and many other things too.
Brilliant. David, thank you very much indeed. If people aren't at the show, where can they find more information?
So you can find out lots more information about our Nimbra products, the 600, the 1000 products, and Trust Boundary that's implemented on those on our netinsight.net website. And all the information you need is there.
Cool. David, thank you very much indeed. We'll be doing another interview with David shortly on the Nimbra 400 as well, so do check out that on the channel. For everything else we're doing at NAB, you can check that out at kitplus.com.